Micah Parsons becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Plus, is Cowboys owner Jerry Jones' controversial contract negotiations a problem for the Players Union? Hi, everyone, and welcome to Front Office Sports Today from FOS Studios in New York City. I'm Baker Machado.
And I'm Renee Washington, and happy Friday! Thanks so much for joining us each and every weekday as we chat the biggest stories in the business and culture of sports. We also have NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace on later to chat the NASCAR playoffs this weekend. But first, let's jump right into the shoot-around.
Yeah, and let's start with a Texas-sized earthquake in the NFL, Renee, as the Dallas Cowboys traded star defensive end Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks plus defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Now, Parsons will reportedly sign a 4-year, $188 million deal with Green Bay, and that will be the largest contract ever for a non-quarterback. That $47 million average annual value he'll make is more than the $40.5 million per year that Jerry Jones reportedly offered back in March, a deal that the Cowboys owner says Parsons agreed to before later asking to speak with his agent. Now, moments after the trade of the news broke, Parsons took to social media to say, quote, "I never wanted this chapter to end, but not everything was in my control. Through it all, I never made any demands. I never asked for anything more than fairness. I only asked the person that I trust to negotiate my contract be part of the process." So, Renee, let's first focus here on the Parsons aspect of the deal. Is this a win for him? It sounds like it is.
Yes, Baker. I mean, with this 4-year, $188 million contract, it's a win for Micah because he gets $120 million fully and guaranteed. At the time of signing, gets $136 million in total guarantees. He also, as you mentioned, with that annual, the AAV of $47 million per year, does pass T.J. Watt, who had the previous record for non-quarterbacks at $41 million. So he wanted to become the highest paid non-quarterback, check. He wanted to get a bigger extension, also check. But on the other side, it's crazy because the Cowboys did have a chance to stop this trade. Micah Parsons and his team came back. They said he wanted to stay in Dallas. They were trying to negotiate, and essentially Jerry Jones and his team said to him, either to take this, stay and play your 5th year, or you're walking. So there was an attempt for Micah Parsons to stay. He did not want to leave, yet here we see him now in Green Bay, and it's a big win because also the Packers are going to embrace him. I'm looking forward to his first Lambeau Leap. I'm looking forward to September 28th when it's Sunday Night Football. Cowboys, Packers, and also just excited for him in this new chapter.
Also, the Packers, by the way, their odds of winning the Super Bowl also increased with Micah Parsons. But obviously, let's talk about the Jerry Jones and the Cowboys aspect of this, because Jerry Jones said trading his star defensive player will actually make the Cowboys a better postseason team. He said in a press conference Thursday night, quote, "In our judgment, this gives us a better chance to be a better team than we have been the last several years." Now, Jones is getting mocked heavily, Renee, about how he handled this. Is that fair?
Well, it's also fair because Dallas in general is still in shambles after the surprising trade of 26-year-old NBA superstar Luka Doncic.
True.
And so you're dealing with this, that another 26-year-old star is getting traded in his prime. We're talking about 3-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year finalist in Micah Parsons, one of the biggest names across the league, and you're letting him walk. And it felt like it was more about Jerry Jones' pride versus wanting to actually move on from Micah Parsons. I know Micah's brother, Terrence, even said that all Micah really wanted was respect in this negotiation process. It's all he was looking for. Felt like he did not get that. So for the Cowboys, it's also their 3rd time consecutively having a player in contract negotiations going into August. CeeDee Lamb last year, it was guard Zach Martin the year before, but it does feel like a tipping point for the franchise that now it's not just a holdout, it's also a trade that happens and has people wondering, can Jerry Jones successfully continue to run this organization?
Just in terms of the value here, a lot of people are saying maybe this is similar to what Khalil Mack got with the Bears and the Raiders, 2 first-round picks, but you also have to think the Packers are going to be a good team. So even if the Cowboys are hoping that the Packers are going to be terrible, this is likely going to be a late first-round pick that they're going to be getting. The Packers haven't picked in the top 10 since 2009, so that sort of has to play a role in here that they're going to get anybody like Micah Parsons again.
Correct, and they try to compare it to the Herschel Walker move that led to the 90s Super Bowls that they won, but I don't think this is the same.
Well, while most, as I mentioned, have been critical of Jerry Jones' handling of the Parsons situation, it does get to a larger question about owners who are also general managers of their teams and the handling of controversial contract negotiations. Former great Darrelle Revis released a statement before the Parsons trade this week. He said, quote, "Jerry's actions in contract negotiations show that owners have no problem taking advantage of us, and when our union fails to respond, it sends a message that they'll be able to do the same in the next CBA negotiations if the current leadership remains in place."
Well, that's a good point because this comes at a time that the NFLPA is already under question for how they're protecting players in the midst of contract negotiations, specifically because of this incident. But then you have Jerry Jones in the press conference after the trade, and he's calling Micah Michael. Which, whether he's disrespecting him or it's because of his age, either is a problem. But then on top of that, there's been a number of questionable ownerships. The league has been criticized and compared to by some, whether it's LeBron James, Troy Vincent, Brian Flores, Colin Kaepernick, that compared it to that of a plantation, about the ownership of billionaires not being comfortable and doing a good job of creating a positive environment for their players. This actually just makes and amplifies that and makes it a bigger point. So I think for as much as they've done around the Dan Snyders of the NFL to remove them, there's still a lot of bad apples in the ownership bunch. They're not all Jeffrey Lurie's, they're not all, the good ones, even the Arthur Blanks of the world. There's some very questionable ownership that makes the NFL look bad.
All right, let's move to college football. We're about to see the most amount of teams in the top 10 play against each other this weekend, including that big game of Ohio State and Texas. But it looks like the biggest competition might be on the broadcast side. Let's talk about that in our main event. All right, let's bring in Front Office Sports college sports reporter Amanda Kristovich. So obviously a huge game this weekend, but it seems like the biggest rivalry is not on the field. It's actually between two broadcast networks.
100%. ESPN and Fox, in my opinion, are the biggest rivals in college football this season. Yes, you have Texas, Ohio State, but think of it this way. You have Texas, which is the crown jewel of the SEC, which is backed by ESPN, versus Ohio State, the reigning national champions from the Big Ten, backed by Fox. So if you sort of take a big picture business look at this, you'll really see that these two networks have been sort of dueling for control of college football for the past, I would say, 5 years. And they both have backed one of the two super conferences, and they are going to be duking it out off the field before the game with their pregame shows, in addition to, for the rest of the season, really.
Yeah, so when you look at this as SEC versus Big Ten, Lee Corso in his final game versus the big noon kickoff with Dave Portnoy, who's got the slight edge in this rivalry as of now?
Well, I think from a standpoint of the pregame shows, I would argue that College Game Day is just the incumbent show. They always have the edge. They always are getting more viewers than Big Noon. They are just the 40-year, I believe, incumbent. So Lee Corso having his swan song is obviously nice, but I don't think that is going to be the reason that they're going to get more viewers than Big Noon. Although I will say, on the other hand, that all of the drama surrounding Dave Portnoy and what my colleague Ryan Glass-Beagle has reported about his drama with Ohio State, that certainly adds a layer of interest to Big Noon. So I think whatever comes of this weekend from the pregame shows, I'm not sure that's going to be an indication of the rest of the season. But I would certainly be shocked if Big Noon beats out Game Day just because of Game Day's years-long incumbency.
But this also comes as the SEC is looking to change their schedules to have more conference games and less out-of-conference games. So as a result, does it put more of an onus and all of these games, like Ohio State and Texas, more on a pedestal because we just aren't going to be getting very many of these?
I think potentially. I also think the question becomes, what types of matchups are we going to see in the expanded college football playoff? Now, remember, Fox doesn't have any rights to the college football playoff, right? That's ESPN's show, and they've refused to give it up. Obviously, they've given some. They've given some of their games to TNT, but really, they're driving the bus with the college football playoff. So maybe ESPN, just didn't really think that they needed as many of these interconference rivalries between the super conferences. I will note, though, that on Saturday, Fox does have the actual rights to the actual game, even though both networks will be at the pregame. So, this is an opportunity for Fox to really shine.
All going to be incredible to watch as we officially really kick off the college football season. I know a very busy time for you, Amanda Kristovich. Thank you so very much. And coming up next, everyone, NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace joining me and Renee in studio. It's going to be talking about the NASCAR playoff ahead this weekend and so much more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to Front Office Sports Today with Renee Washington, Baker Machado. What's been a very good year for Bubba Wallace as the NASCAR driver became a dad for the very first time, plus became the very first black driver to win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, all ahead of the NASCAR playoffs happening very soon. So let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Bubba Wallace in studio. Hi, Bubba.
How we doing, guys?
Good to have you here. So let's talk about that big win that you had in Indianapolis a few weeks ago. What did that moment mean for you?
Yeah, it was. We locked ourselves into the playoffs. We're fighting for a championship.
Right, that got you into the playoffs.
That got us
Bingo.
in. So we win, you're in. So it's been really living carefree, nice, just be able to take a step back and enjoy, you know, every race that has come after Indy up until now. So we can go into Daytona this weekend, no stress. Love that. I've been on the cut line for so many years, and it's stressful to the max, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really good year. Enjoyed where we've been at, and excited to see what the future has for us.
And you've also been the first for so many things. Going back to even 2008 when you were the youngest to win at Franklin County Speedway,
Oh, yeah,
to
I go way back.
2013 as the first black driver
Yeah.
to win a NASCAR race. What do these trailblazing moments mean for you to be the first?
Yeah, it's just something that's always kind of been there, and it's kind of become second nature to me. I've always just focused on trying to be the best on the racetrack and letting everything else settle in place behind, and I think I've shaken out okay with the way that's worked out. But it's awesome to be carrying the banner and carrying the torch for, you know, what Wendell Scott had really laid the foundation for. And so taking it a couple steps further, racking up some victories, becoming a name in the sport that I've been a part of since 2010, whatever you want to call it. It's just been a lot of fun. Really thankful for all the people that have helped me get to where I'm at, all the opportunities, all the different car owners I've raced for, and now we're here with an awesome team with 2311. MJ and Denny are the other owners, and it's been just something I don't even know how to describe it. It's just very fortunate, very blessed.
Well, I mentioned also you're a new dad too,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
you've posted lots of photos of your newborn on Instagram, and you even brought them to Indianapolis
Right,
when you
they
won
were
that
there.
race. What has maybe becoming a father meant to you as a driver, and has it changed maybe your perspective of things now?
Yeah, for sure. You know, now putting family first over racing has been the biggest transition. For ever since I was 9, it's always just been racing, right? And everything else came second. Well, that's not really the case when Bex needs a diaper change, and that's the only thing you have to think about is not throwing up from the smell. But you look at, as nasty as those times are, you look at the moments where in that time you're not thinking about anything other than changing a diaper and making sure he's happy and fed and all this stuff, right? And so I've actually enjoyed that. It gives you a break from this crazy life that we live, you know, on track, and you focus on the more important things. So he is incredible. I just got off FaceTime with him. He just got a haircut, so he's
Was it his first haircut?
That was his second. So yeah, his
okay.
hair,
The first is interesting.
his hair grows just as quick as mine, like super fast, and I feel like it was just last week where he got his first haircut. But
You guys
it
are going to
gets
share a
super
barber in
long.
no time.
I know, right? I'll have to carve out some time in my slot when we go to the barber shop soon. But no, it's just really a lot of fun. It's already 11 months.
I know, more first now as a dad, which I love.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot done in NASCAR to help grow the sport in terms of the audience, media deals, inclusion, and even reaching a younger audience itself. However, viewership's much more complicated. You look at Fox and Amazon Prime, they're reaching their audiences in different ways. I'm curious, as a driver, what are you seeing? Are we seeing a growth in the audience, or is NASCAR declining overall in viewership?
Yeah, well, I think Richmond's viewership just got posted, and I think that's the message is getting skewed there, because we actually just released our 2026 schedule, and for as much as I think drivers like Saturday night races because we get the Sundays off, just the viewership just doesn't calculate up. So other than that, our viewership has actually been the highest it's ever been. So I think NASCAR is doing an incredible job right now of trying to figure out new innovative ways. We're going to San Diego next year for a new road course race there, so that'll be exciting in a different market that we've never been to. Going back to Chicagoland, I know a lot of passionate fans will be out there. We just come off a 3-year tenure at Chicago Street Course.
Yes.
That was incredible. Had a lot of fun there. So continuing to tap into markets that we haven't been to and revisiting some old ones, ironing out the kinks of how to just continue to be better. But our sport's in the best spot it's actually been in a long time, and it's cool to kind of be carrying the face of that.
You mentioned, obviously, you're part of the team with Michael Jordan in 2311. What has MJ brought to this team, and what sort of things have you learned maybe from MJ, and has a lot of his thoughts, cross being from basketball into NASCAR that have also been really informative for you?
No, I think the biggest thing he's taught me is, don't go into something that you know you're going to lose. So I don't think we'll ever see him in a race car, and you won't ever see me play him. You won't ever see me play him one-on-one. So
I love that. I love that.
By the way, how do you think MJ would do in a race
I'm
car?
Curious.
I guess we'll never know. I don't know.
One of
Or
life's
on a court, we'll never know
mysteries.
either.
That's right.
But it has been a tough time right now for 2311 around the lawsuit and everything. Just the details continue to get ironed out with that December date on the calendar. As a driver, is there any impact, conversation, involvement, anything that you have your hand in terms of conversations around this?
No, it's above my pay grade, and they just tell me to go out and win races. And look what we did at Indy. In the midst of it all, it doesn't stop me from going out and trying to be the best that I can and represent all of our partners and everybody on this team the best way we can. That's by winning.
Let's end things on the playoffs. Obviously, we're so excited for you making it. What's your mindset going into it, and how do you sort of see this playing out here?
I look at our team. We've gotten hot at the right time. Richmond was a little bit of a setback for us, but it's nice to get the mistakes out of the way. That way we can go into next weekend at Darlington and have 10 mistake-free weeks and hoist the trophy over our head. So I got the utmost confidence that our group can do it, and we're right where we want to be.
So with dad strength and the playoffs coming up, does this season feel different to you as a driver, personally and professionally, in the final seconds?
100%. Every season it changes, but this one we've executed more so than I ever have. Our team has just been incredible. Bringing in Charles as the new crew chief, he's figuring out the cup ranks. So there's a lot of good that is pointed our way to not be able to capitalize on it in the end.
Well, we're wishing you the best of luck for the playoffs, Bubba. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we got a lot more front office sports today headed your way right after this quick break. And welcome back, everyone, to Front Office Sports Today with Renee Washington and Baker Machado. Well, after playing 7 seasons in the NBA, including finishing second in the 2012 NBA dunk contest, Chase Budinger switched sports completely, going to the Olympic beach volleyball team and becoming the very first person ever to appear in both an NBA regular season game and also the Olympic beach volleyball competition as well. Big money indeed, Renee. He also recently won the prestigious Manhattan Beach Open as well. So let's talk about what a second act he is. Chase Budinger joins us now on Front Office Sports Today. Chase, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So what was it like transitioning from the NBA to volleyball, and was this something you always were interested in?
Yes, this was definitely always the plan of mine, was to transition into beach volleyball. And, basically the thought was, as long as my body was healthy and I was able to do it, I knew that beach volleyball players could play later in their careers, unlike basketball where, a long career is at the age of 30. But beach volleyball, you could do it into your 40s. So I always knew that transition was there for me. And, when I decided to make that switch, I made it a goal of mine to accomplish these certain things. And it took me a while, but I was able to become an Olympian. I was able to finally get my name on the pier at Manhattan Beach Open. So these are some of the goals that I've finally been able to accomplish. But it took me a good 7-8 years to do that.
Well, that's impressive that you've always been a dual athlete, a multi-sport athlete, and knew you wanted to play at the highest level for both. Do you feel like you're better in one sport, or was it just you loved both truly and wanted to make sure to compete at the highest level for each?
I've always loved both. I would probably say I was a better volleyball player than I was a basketball player growing up, but I enjoyed basketball so much, and I wanted to see how far it could take me once I got to college. So I went that route first. Before then, obviously changing to volleyball.
Well, I'm curious, having played in the NBA and now doing beach volleyball, are there skills and things that you have utilized in your NBA years that translate well to volleyball? And I'm curious, do you think other pro athletes, even those in the NBA, could also make the transition?
Yeah, I've definitely used a lot of my work ethic and my professionalism and all that I've learned from my basketball. career to kind of transition and bring that with me to the volleyball because, you know, I was kind of a late bloomer on the beach volleyball circuit. So I had to kind of play catch up and I had to kind of fine tune my skills a lot sooner and faster than most others. So luckily I was able to bring that. But as far as other athletes trying to do it, I think it would be very tough because I've had such a big background of volleyball growing up, it was an easier transition to get back into it.
Well, let's talk more about that volleyball background. As you mentioned, an Olympian, you're also in the midst of preparing for the playoffs. It's championships weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's in store this weekend for you as you're competing to win some hardware?
Yeah, we're down here at Oak Street Beach at the Chicago AVP Championships. It's for all the marbles. It's a fun single-limb tournament starting on Saturday and leading up until Sunday for the finals. So it's always a fun atmosphere here. Chicago fans, they come out, they support, they go crazy. So it's always a fun vibe here in Chicago, and it's always one of my favorite tournaments.
And I was going to say, having been in the NBA and doing this, are there things that you feel like volleyball is on the cusp of becoming a bigger and larger sport, and do you sort of feel like you'll help promoting this as a result of that?
I hope so. I mean, volleyball is such a fun and cool sport, and people, you know, that get involved with it or watch it, they really do fall in love with it. We just need more people to get their eyes on the sport and to come out and see it in person because it's such a beautiful and a wonderful sport.
Well, that's why Chase is here to do just that. Chase, best of luck at this weekend for the championships that are happening in Chicago.
Go win some hardware.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
We won it last year, so we're defending our title.
Yes, you are.
Right.
I saw that. That's right. Let them
reason.
know. Coming back to win again.
Chase Budinger, thank you so much, Chase, for joining us. We got a lot more Front Office Sports today headed your way right after this quick break. Well, Renee, Dana White says the proposed UFC fight on the White House lawn is on. He posted a video on social media saying, quote, "I'll have more details in the next couple of weeks, but we got it done today." And that proposed fight could happen July 2026, celebrating America's 250th birthday. Now, the White House has not confirmed the news just yet, but no professional sporting event, Renee, has ever been contested on the White House grounds before. And former champs Conor McGregor and John Jones both have said they're interested if this fight actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about CEO Dana White confirming the White House news, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But as he mentioned, it could not have gone any better. And now you do have Conor McGregor, who we haven't seen fight since 2021. He actually backed out of a 2024 fight with an injury. You've got Joe Jones, who's also at one point was retired, now trying to come back. This is something that if you're a fighter, you're an athlete of any sort, you want to be a part of this major event. So now we are just curious, what would it look like in honor of the birthplace of America, celebrating 250 years, to have this happen on the White House lawn. But pretty cool sport.
Yeah, interesting. And by the way, I think the biggest sports thing ever in the White House lawn was a bowling alley during the Nixon year. So this is totally different, and see what happens from here. All right, guys, we're off Monday for Labor Day. We'll get you ready for the NFL kickoff next week. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us.